So we need a case study, a major city in the UK. We're obviously going to look at Liverpool. We need to look at location and importance. Location's easy. Banks of the River Mersey, northwest England. Importance is a bit harder. We need to look at Liverpool's identities. And there's three identities. There's the educational identity, there's the sporting identity, there's the musical identity. Education. 3 universities, 50,000 students. Let's look at the sporting identity. Liverpool Football Club, 800 million fans worldwide. Huge sphere of influence for the city. And if we look at the musical identity, well, we've got to consider the Beatles. Our cultural heritage. 10 million streams a day on Spotify. Let's consider the impacts of national and international migration. National migration, talk about the universities again. 3 universities, 50,000 students. But what's most important, 31% of the students, 1 in 3, stay in our city after they graduate. So that is really helping to generate an attractive business environment. That's going to inspire investment, and it's going to provide some really specialist job opportunities in our city, which will inevitably lead to economic growth. International migration, 11.1% of the city is BAME. That makes our city liberal, inclusive, welcoming, and that makes for an attractive business environment too. Now, we need to consider urban change. What is urban change? 60s, 70s and 80s in our city. The economy was quite one-dimensional. A lot of manufacturing industry, warehouses, factories, on the waterfront, on the docks, on the banks of the River Mersey. Get to the 21st century. We're looking at post-industrial economic activity, future-proofing our economy. A lot of regeneration, a lot of rebranding, a lot of re-imaging. And we can look at that plays out socially and economically through 4 different frameworks. To start with, we can have a look at, for example, recreation and entertainment. Liverpool One. That's a great example of urban change. 500,000 shoppers a week. That's really, really going to provide a lot of economic activity for the city. Okay, another one of the frameworks. Let's have a look at our cultural mix. Cultural mix, Baltic Triangle, obviously. 150 tech firms, 500 jobs, specialist forms of employment. People want to work here rather than migrating to the southeast like they have done in the past. We can also look at employment opportunities in general. Travel and tourism. Travel and tourism in our city provides 50,000 jobs. We've only got a population of 450,000 people in Liverpool. 1 in 9 people work in travel and tourism. So that's improving quality of life and standard of living. And also, I'm going to look at integrated transport systems. That's another really good example of socio-economic urban change. What even is an integrated transport system? I'm going to give you an example. Let's pretend for a minute that I'm like a high-flying business person and I've had a long weekend in Milan, but I've got a meeting in Liverpool city centre, 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, and I get a flight from Milan back to Liverpool first thing Monday morning. How do I get to that business meeting in the city centre at 9 a.m? Well, I've flown in to John Lennon Airport. I then get a bus from John Lennon Airport to Liverpool South Parkway train station. I then get a connecting train that takes me into the heart of the city centre. And through the flight, connecting to the bus, connecting to the train, I have been able to get to my high-flying business meeting first thing on a Monday morning, when the night before I was in Milan city centre enjoying some lovely food. So that's what an integrated transport system is. All of the different types of transport link connect, because when the transport flows, the economy grows. We also need to look at how urban change plays out environmentally. Urban greening. Greening our urban environments. Fabulous example, Alder Hay. Green roofs, green walls. Green space is amazing. I'll give you a few examples why green space is so spectacular, right? First of all, gives you a digital detox. It's amazing for health and well-being. And if people are mentally healthy, they'll be quite productive in the workplace. That leads to economic growth. What else does urban greening do? It intercepts surface runoff. It reduces flood risk. We don't want urban environments to flood. And in addition to that, green space stores carbon dioxide, so that mitigates global warming and climate change. Finally, I want to talk to you about an example of an urban regeneration project. There's a lot of urban regeneration projects in our city that feeds into urban change. We have a lot of abandoned warehouses and factories, especially on the banks of the River Mersey. I'm going to talk to you about the Baltic Triangle. I've already mentioned that when we were talking about cultural mix with urban change. But let's dig a bit deeper. What is the Baltic Triangle? Well, it's an area of abandoned warehouses and factories that have been regenerated, rebranded, re-imaged, got a brand new identity. Really good example is the 150 tech firms where you've got 500 employees that are now working in our city rather than moving to the southeast for these specialist types of employment in tech. This really is an important piece of the jigsaw in the economic patchwork that makes up our city.